Interconnected forces in European history. Throughout history, big changes usually don't happen by themselves. Different parts of society influence each other at the same time. In this presentation, I will talk about how science and medicine, religion and moral values, power and politics, and material culture all worked together in European history, especially during times of disease and conflict. Looking at these topics together helps us better understand how people actually lived and thought in the past. During the medieval and early modern periods, science and medicine was very limited. Doctors did not understand germs or how diseases really spread, so treatments were often based on herbs, tradition, and guesswork. Apothecaries were important because they made medicines that people hoped would help, even though many of them did not actually cure illnesses. When plague spread, the lack of medical knowledge made people feel scared, helpless. Based on what we read about the scientific revolution, discoveries by scientists like Galileo challenged traditional beliefs about the natural world and showed the limits of early medical and scientific knowledge. Religion played a huge role in how people explained sickness and death. Many believed that disease was a punishment from God or a test of faith. Churches were more than just a place to worship. They were also places where people looked for comfort and answers. When medicine failed, people often turned to prayer, confession, and religious leaders to understand why suffering was happening. In Martin Luther's writing about the Peasants' Revolt, he argues that rebellion went against both religious authority and political order, showing how closely religion and power were connected. Power and politics also had a major impact on everyday life. During wars like the Hundred Years' War, soldiers often took food and supplies from regular people. Civilians had very little protection and many lost their homes or livelihoods. These political conflicts made life more dangerous and unstable, especially for people who already struggled to survive during these times of disease and famine. Luther's response to the Peasants' Revolt shows how political rulers were supported by religious authority, especially during times of unrest. Material culture helps us understand how people emotionally react to these hardships. One example is the Dance of Death artwork, which shows skeletons reminding people that death could happen to anyone. These images became popular after plagues and reflected how common death had become in everyday life. Art like this shows fear, grief, and acceptance, and it helps historians understand how people process loss. According to what we learned about material culture, objects and artwork can show how people understood their world, which is why images like the Dance of Death help explain how common fear and loss were. All of these topics were connected because medicine was weak, people relied more on religion. Wars helped spread disease and made living conditions worse. Material culture reflects to these fears and beliefs through art and everyday objects. Together, science, religion, politics, and culture shaped how people experience history. When we look at scientific change, religious authority, political power, and material culture together, the sources we read show how each influenced the others rather than developing separately. Studying these topics together shows that history is more than just events and dates. It is about how people respond to changes and try to make sense of their world. Understanding these connections helps us better understand the past and how similar struggles still affect societies today.